So this is Joe in his room talking to himself. This is going to be a spoiler-filled thing, so I suggest if you haven't beaten Final Fantasy VII Remake, that you do so, and then you can come back here, or you can wait for our full-on review. Thing is that Schweiss has not actually started the game yet, and I just beat it, and I feel like it'd be a good idea to just put down my initial thoughts on Final Fantasy VII Remake. So, here goes. Wow. Wow. I did not expect that at all. I think that's pretty clear. I think it's clear from us joking about the title Final Fantasy VII Remake that that it was not something that I even closely foresaw. I had a little moment in Chapter 5 when the Dementors started and they were talking about fate and destiny. And I'm like, fate and destiny are not themes of Final Fantasy VII, so they're just shoehorning this in here. And then I had a second, I had a fleeting thought. A fleeting thought in my mind. I'm like, is this a different timeline? Is this a different timeline? And then I was like, I guess we'll find out. And then basically just kind of had that suspicion throughout. And then, my goodness, did things change in Chapter 18. So it's not Final Fantasy VII Remake. It's Final Fantasy VII Remake. There was a moment in Chapter 17 or 18 when Sephiroth was kind of making his appearance. And he wasn't this mysterious kind of guy anymore, or this mysterious force that you then kind of have to track down and figure out your past and yada yada. And then we see of course that oddly timed Zack cutscene, which I had this thought. The thought was, this would make no sense to anybody if you never played the original Final Fantasy VII. And now at the other end of the credits, I'm thinking, of course not. You have to play Final Fantasy VII and then play Final Fantasy VII Remake. Now it's not called the remake anymore. It's now just Final Fantasy VII Remake, right? Because it's gotta be. I mean, so it's obviously a different timeline thing. The Tempted Fate, the Dementors, or the Whispers, whatever they were called. The Dementors were stopping them from changing the past or changing the future. And they're having these flashbacks of things that would happen in the future that already happened in Final Fantasy VII. So, the question is, what changed the timeline? Isn't it? And that is obviously going to have to be something that is explored in Final Fantasy VII Remake 2, or whatever they decided to call it. I think it would be hilarious if they called it Remastered, and Cloud has to master something. I don't know. But obviously, they're remaking their fate, and therefore the title Final Fantasy VII Remake. I dug it. I really dug it. It doesn't erase Final Fantasy VII from existence like I was worried about before. It's actually a sequel, and you know what? It's a darn good one. I'm gonna gush about it when we get to the actual review. My timing on this thing is I'm gonna try to platinum the game before Schweiss finishes his first playthrough. I don't know if Schweiss is gonna want to platinum it. I'm pretty sure he's going to want to, but I was at 42 hours. Something like that, and I don't want this to take forever before we get to the obviously I'm heavy breathing, guys. I'm so excited. Before we get to the review for the show, but yeah, there's a lot to like about it, and that was a pretty clever move by Square Enix. So clever, I'm surprised they could do it. And I'm excited for the sequel and whatever the sequel is going to be called. It depends on what they call it, though. Because you don't want to give up the secret of what it is to the people who haven't played the game yet. So when are you going to announce it, When is Planet of the Apes? When are they just going to give up that the ending of Planet of the Apes is ruined for everyone, Anyway, yeah. Really good game. Really good game. Now that it's not a remake, it's a remake. Really giddy about it, honestly, guys. I'm really yeah. Anyway, if you guys have beaten the game, or I assume if you're listening to this at all, you beat the game. For those of you who have, go on your email, type in the send box, fffanatics123@gmail.com, and please send us your reviews and your questions for Final Fantasy VII. Just put Final Fantasy VII Remake in the subject line, and we will read those reviews and we will answer the questions or whatever. Basically, the questions are for whatever you guys want us to touch on. There's a lot in this game. The main story alone is just as big, if not bigger, than 15's. So there's a lot that we could possibly skip over, and we don't want to skip over anything in the review for Final Fantasy VII Remake. Anyways, guys, we'll see ya. I'm going to guess Schweiss will beat it within at least a month, hopefully sooner than that. Maybe 3 weeks, I would guess, based on how fast Schweiss plays. So, anyways, see you guys next time. Enjoy the grind.